I am Joshua Kemble, and this is my Vloggins. This is the vlog that I record on my way to where I work as a full-time art director. I have a pretty long commute, and that eats in my free time as an artist and my vlogging time and my content creation time. So what I've started doing is these vlogs that I record about my art thoughts and my thoughts on the process of cartooning. Who am I? I'm Joshua Kemble, and this is my channel where I talk about what I do in cartooning. When I'm not cartooning, well, pretty much what I do other than cartooning is I'm a full-time art director. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 15 years, and I also put out books like full graphic novels, fully illustrated and written by me. The first one that I put out was 2 Stories, which is a comic about faith and mental illness. It's hand-lettered, hand-inked, and you can get a hold of for a really reduced rate on Amazon, or you can ask your local comic shop or local bookstore to order it through Ingram. But right now I also have a brand new graphic novel, 136 pages, full color, illustrated graphic novel that deals with basically the idea that there are some questions out there that can shake even the strongest of faith. And it basically deals with 2 characters, Jacob and Sarah. Jacob is like a teetotaling, straight-laced Christian, and Sarah is an atheist who does a lot of drinking. Both are kind of grappling with their own personal issues. Jacob is grappling with the loss of his father to cancer, and Sarah is struggling with a past relationship with one of her professors. And both of them feel bonded in a common desire to pursue literary art. And they feel a connection with that. Jacob's Apartment is a love story that deals with first love, loss, dreams in reality versus dreams in the dream world. There's a lot of kind of dream sequences interwoven throughout the plot, and also deals with religion, questioning belief systems, and the pursuit of basically art and young ambition. It's a very powerful coming of age story, and I think you guys will dig it. I'm still kind of refining that pitch for the book, but I will say, pitch aside, I feel really confident in the book. It was actually the first graphic novel I ever completed, and because of Graphic Mundi, who's my publisher on that, it has become a much more powerful piece of art, because my editor gave me some suggestions and tips on just little changes that really changed the whole dynamic of the book, and really bring it to a different level. And I'm really excited to be able to share it with you guys. So you can find links to where you can pre-order that. You can also pre-order it on barnesandnoble.com. But Jacob's Apartment, all of those links are on the graphicmundi.org website. There's also a section on my website that's joshuakemble.com, and that's Kemble with a K. And if you go to that, and you're going to see a page linked to on the site called Jacob's Apartment, that'll give you all the information, more information about the book, how you can pre-order it, how you can support it as it comes out. So, the last vlog, I was talking about potentially releasing a trailer, which I was going to say you might be able to catch a sneak peek of if you went to joshuakemble.com and clicked to Jacob's Apartment as a link. But I still haven't gotten the full go-ahead to release the trailer from my publisher. So if you're just dying to see it, you want to see a sneak peek of it, you might be able to, I'm not saying you can, but you might be able to find it on that website link. But until then, we'll just kind of make do with what we have. The exciting thing is the second that trailer goes live, I'm really confident you guys are going to be pumped about it. It's a piece of work I feel really confident about, and now I've talked about it for 5 minutes, which is way too long for a pitch. So let's get into just talking about our subject for the day. So, for me right now, I am swamped. Like I think people who follow this vlog, you'll know and be familiar with the fact that things get pretty hectic and busy, and I've just been swamped with a lot of work and a lot of art and comics related work on top of my my day job doing work and stuff like that. But I guess my topic today is kind of like going to be more of like a thought. Reflect. By the way, if you hear noise or anything like that, it's probably my directions app kind of interrupting me every once in a while. So basically, like whenever you're really busy with a lot of work as an artist, there's this really great advice that goes around to especially young illustrators, graphic designers, or cartoonists, which is to kind of treat yourself as a business. Like meaning, in order to work successfully as an artist, you can't forget that what you do has monetary value, that you're in a market, that you are part of a capitalistic system where it's a very profit-driven industry, and you have the potential to make a living doing it. And you need to treat your own art as a business, like meaning like when you're billing, when you're having customer service interactions with whoever you're drawing or creating art for, and so there's a lot of like business sides to that, like meaning if you're a business, you're not going to just do word agreements for like verbal agreements for art, right? You're going to actually do written agreements. If you're a business, you're going to write fair contracts that are win-wins for both you and your client. If you're a business, you're going to have a billing department. If you're a business, you're going to have all of these things that necessarily follow. And usually the idea of like an artist thinking of themselves as a business is brought up in the context of like typical things you'd think of with business, like profit motive, professionalism, customer service, having standard operating hours, having clear lines of communication with your client, all that fun stuff. But the one angle I don't really see quite often focused on as much is that there are some things that you need to think about if you're a business nowadays. If you're a business in this day and age, and actually honestly this transcends just this day and age, but even now more important than ever, businesses really need to focus on having high morale and retention of employees, right? And part of that has to do with like being aware if your people are overworked, being aware if your people are underpaid, being aware if things get too task-based and too serious, and being aware of all of these external factors that can affect productivity in a negative way. And like you want to work on those things as a business so that you have happy, productive workers, right? Because happier workers who feel more invested, workers who feel more connected to where they work are much more likely to have a higher output of productivity. And I'm talking about this in like cold business terms. I think generally, morally, you need to have some buy-in from the people who work for you, right? If you're out of business. So this is all standard stuff for businesses, but what I'm getting at is if you as an artist on your own personal work are treating yourself as a business, you need to keep in mind your own morale, your own buy-in, your own interest, and your own productivity, and as well as your own break schedule. Because like as I described at the top of this, I am an artist right now who has like way too many things to do, and the temptation is to just hit the drawing board every single night, which is mostly what I'm going to do. But as I'm venturing into this, I need to understand like the potential for burnout. I need to understand the value of taking breaks. I also am going to need to really understand my own buy-in. Like, I need to find things that make me enthusiastic about what I'm doing, because I will be more productive in that sense. If I'm taking care of myself, I'm taking care of my health, I'm taking care of those external factors that can kind of really erode productivity, then in theory, I should be more productive. I should actually be able to do a better job at doing those things for myself. So, I guess that's my thought, is like, you know, if you guys out there are artists, first off, acknowledge you're a business. Do you guys often think of yourself as a business? Do you think of what you do as like being a professional thing? And I personally think it's very beneficial. Like, as artists, we need to be, I'm a big fan of like art for art's sake, taking big risks on making artistic visions happen. And I think that's the kind of thing in art and in comics that can shape society and shake things and kind of make them make the world exciting. But at the same time, like, as an illustrator and graphic designer, when I was running my own business for about 15 years, if I hadn't thought of myself as a business, I wouldn't have been able to, at the time I was renting, and I wouldn't have been able to pay rent. Even now, if I didn't think of myself professionally, I wouldn't be able to maintain having a house, eating, taking care of my kid, and I also wouldn't necessarily have kept this standard that like I want to do that with art. So that's a huge thing, is like, think of yourself as a business on a financial front. But also, I was gonna say, like, when it comes to the importance of keeping in mind your own morale, your own excitement level, your own buy-in, your own level of like kind of taking care of yourself, taking breaks, you know, honestly exercising, which is something I need to say to myself, because again, I had another week where it's just been chaos. Like, I get home, I nap for a minute, I like read to my kid, and then I just hit the drawing board. And at some point, especially, I think I'm going to make a more active goal this next week to, before I get into that spin of things, to try to prioritize some kind of exercise. Maybe I can start this weekend. I had this wonderful habit built up where I did it every other day, and I've fallen out of that for like the last 2 weeks, which is unusual for me. I don't usually fall out of things for that long. And I can feel it. I can feel like the physical effect on me. Like, so my goal, my point is, if I'm thinking of myself as a business, I need to be concerned about myself as my own employee, right? And I definitely need to like invest in some things that are going to help me take care of myself, have a healthy life-work balance. And as a cartoonist, the idea of even a healthy work-life balance is fairly insane, because I mean, anybody who's done comics, you guys know, they just take forever. They take forever. They're a lot of work, especially the kind that I'm doing. Not that it's anything special. It's just when you have a team, there's a little bit of offloading of work. When it's solely creator-driven work, that you're writing, penciling, inking, doing everything, wearing all the hats, it's a crap load of work that can be really exhausting. So I guess my point is, when you're working on things like that in particular, I do think it's really important to remember part of being a business is taking good care of your employees, right? And if you're your own employee for your own business, it's important for you to take care of yourself, to make sure that you are conditioning your body and mind and spirit to kind of be able to do this art thing that we all want to do. Anyhow, it's just a thought that I had. I'm not sure, exactly if that like hits with anyone. For me, it's been pretty interesting thinking about just realizing that that's like a massive part of business in general, is like taking good care of your employees, keeping morale high, trying to kind of make sure that there's buy-in and retention. And if you think about that and just apply it to yourself for your own personal projects, I think personally, I feel like if I start applying that kind of ethic more to myself when it comes to output, again, just tying into the thinking of it as a business, that could be really beneficial for me and my own personal productivity, which again is a big deal to me because I have these books that I really want to get out into the world, and I have limited time and resources to do those things. And so if I really am taking it seriously and trying to treat myself as a business, that would be a huge part of it. Is like, hey, I gotta really like get back into the working out. I need to kind of like make sure I'm scheduling in breaks. I need to definitely continue prioritizing that little window of time I have with my son, on the weekdays, because if I lose contact with like family or anything like that, I'm not going to be very bought into my work, because my work's going to be pulling me away from the people I love. So that's basically it, and I'm going to basically call it. But thanks to everybody who's watching this, who's subscribed, who likes, who comments, and let me know and like what you guys think. Like, what do you think of yourselves as artists or as creatives? And then, do you often think of yourself as a business? And when you go that route of thinking of yourself as a business, have you been considering like morale in general, like your own personal morale, and your own buy-in for what you're doing? Again, like anything in business, you're not always going to be bought in. You're not always going to be enthusiastic. You're not always going to be excited. You're not always going to be healthy, and you're not always going to be work-life balancing. But the aim and the goal to kind of get there can actually have a really transcendent, positive effect on your output, on your work, and on the artist in you as well. Because the artist in you needs to be fed, needs to be given creative juice to kind of keep going. And so, like, I don't know. That's a thought. I want to know what you guys think. And I hope you guys are all having a good time on your art journeys. And I will talk to you on the next Vloggins. Bye.